This is CBS News, New York.
Right now at 5, 2 breaking news stories this morning. Beth Israel Hospital officially closing its doors with the shutdown of the emergency department. What is next for the community in need of care?
And President Trump's reciprocal tariff rates take effect overnight. That includes China, which now has a 104% tariff. Where the markets stand right now as negotiations are allegedly underway.
Plus, tragedy in the Dominican Republic. The death toll rising after a nightclub roof collapse as crews search for survivors. New Yorkers pray for family and friends.
Good morning on this Wednesday, April 9th. I'm Chris Raggi.
And I'm Mary Calvi. Let's get right over to Tony Sadiku. Not exactly feeling like April 9th, but we're getting closer.
Slowly but surely. Good morning, guys. I got some really nice temperatures to tell you about. We just got to wait a while for them. Before those numbers are going up, they're going down. I got to tell you, we've been talking about those wild winds yesterday. Well, they all delivered this, the big chill, some of our coldest air we've seen in over a month in parts of the area. Temperatures are down about 10 degrees from where they were, and it's all because of those winds. Gusts over 40 to 50 miles per hour. It's all coming in out of the north and west, driving in that chill. Now, skies are mainly clear overhead. That also allows those temperatures to come down, especially as the winds lighten. I want to show you what the temperature's doing right now. So right now, most of you are at or close to freezing. Pretty uniform numbers from the Hudson Valley, Jersey, Long Island. Gets colder up towards the Catskills. But the real feel, the wind chill, this is what you're dressing for, and it's not fun. Wind chills 20s and teens first thing out the door. Thankfully, I see the wind subsiding with time. It's a bright, beautiful day. It's one of those days where you're in a heavy coat this morning, you got the sunglasses, and maybe you're shedding layers this afternoon because we can climb like 20 degrees under sunshine. So we make some progress today, even warmer numbers on the way, but the pattern also turns unsettled. We're tracking that next rain chance. Next time you'll need the umbrellas too in a moment. But first, let's get you out there on the roads and check in with traffic reporter Guy Stanier this morning. Hey, Guy.
Good morning, Tony. We're going to start in New Jersey. Construction as the car lanes closed in both directions on the turnpike between exits 8 and 14. All traffic is using the truck lanes. No delays through the area. Also on this map, the Brooklyn-bound lower level of the Verrazano Bridge is closed. All traffic using the upper level. We have some subway issues in Manhattan. The 7 train is running with delays in both directions due to a switch problem near Grand Central 42nd Street. And taking a live look outside at the Van Wyck right at the Kew Gardens interchange, all of that earlier construction near Atlantic Avenue has cleared out. No delays northbound to the Whitestone Bridge or southbound to JFK Airport. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Guy, thank you. Breaking this morning, a once major hospital in Manhattan closing its doors.
In 3 hours, Mount Sinai Beth Israel will officially cease operations after a ruling by the New York State Court of Appeals paved the way. Christina Fan is live in the East Village with more on how this is going to affect the community there. Christina.
Well, Mary and Chris, Mount Sinai Beth Israel has been slowly phasing out its closure. The emergency room, which you see behind us, is the only part of the hospital still open right now. But we have just learned in the overnight hours that even that will be closing this morning at 8 a.m. putting an end to the hospital's 135-year history. For the past 2 years, community advocates have been fighting to keep this hospital open, but on Tuesday, a New York appeals court ruled in favor of the healthcare system, putting an end to the legal saga. In a statement, Mount Sinai said it was pleased with the ruling, adding that it would move forward with its closure plan immediately. The health system first announced plans to shutter its East Village Hospital in 2023, citing financial trouble and dwindling inpatient volumes. But patients and advocates mounted a legal challenge, worried that it could take years for alternative healthcare providers to scale up their infrastructure to meet the demand that would be placed on them. The CEO of Mount Sinai says as part of its commitment to the community, it has opened just yesterday an expanded urgent care center on 14th Street, located just 2 blocks away from the hospital. We're told that facility will be open 24 hours a day to patients, 7 days a week. For now, reporting live from the East Village, Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
Christina, thank you. Also breaking this down, futures mixed this morning as investors race for more volatility in the markets today. At the stroke of midnight, President Trump's reciprocal tariffs went into effect, hitting almost every country. Global markets are responding. European and Asian shares sinking again today. Japan's Nikkei index closed down nearly 4% as markets in Taiwan, South Korea, New Zealand, and Australia also declined. Jared Hill with more from the newsroom.
We're making deals and people are paying tariffs.
President Trump championed his new dose of so-called tariff medicine as he says countries are flocking to negotiate with the new reciprocal tariffs hitting overnight.
They're giving us everything.
The president says leaders from Japan and South Korea are headed to the U.S. to negotiate. Vietnam and Zimbabwe have said they would scrap tariffs on U.S. products. The EU has said it'll eliminate tariffs on industrial goods and cars if the U.S. does the same. And no progress with the defiant China. Instead, a 104% tariff after Beijing refused to drop its 34% tariff on U.S. goods, likely meaning more expensive electronics and clothing. Imported produce largely spared, most coming from Canada and Mexico, which have been exempted. But food industry experts warn some prices may rise quickly for some perishable staples like bananas.
Fresh products, because you can't build up inventories and there's a limited lifespan, you will feel that quickly, maybe as soon as a week or 10 days.
On Capitol Hill, some Republican senators challenged the White House's strategy during a hearing with the U.S. Trade Representative.
I'm just trying to figure out whose throat I get to choke if it's wrong, and who I put up on a platform and thank them for the novel approach that was successful if they're right.
As financial markets continue their roller coaster.
It's still early innings in seeing what the final shape of tariff policy for the United States is going to be.
Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
On Wall Street, stocks ended the day lower yesterday as uncertainty around Trump's trade war remains high. The Dow tumbled another 320, the S&P dropping 79, NASDAQ plunging 335.
The Trump administration has until 5 p.m. today to submit evidence against detained Columbia University graduate student Mahmoud Khalil. During a hearing in Louisiana yesterday, an immigration judge said the case will be dismissed if the government can't show justification for deporting him. The green card holder was a leader in Columbia's pro-Palestinian demonstrations on campus. Federal authorities accused Khalil of aligning with the terrorist group Hamas, which he denies.
Rescuers are now searching the rubble for survivors following a deadly roof collapse at a nightclub in the Dominican Republic.
At least 98 people were killed, among them a former Mets pitcher and a merengue star. Let's go now live to Christy Kalishan in Washington Heights, where a memorial has been set up. Christy.
Chris, Mary, good morning. And candles are burning bright at this memorial right here across from the Palace Theater, nestled within the Washington Heights community. And a sign here in Spanish is saying, "Today we are simply a people united by pain." So just that grief is definitely felt here within the community. And sources are now confirming Martin Polanco, a fashion designer from Harlem, is also among the at least 98 people so far reported dead. Crews working into the night through the rubble in Santo Domingo, where the Jet Set Club's roof collapsed just over 24 hours ago, killing at least 98 people and injuring hundreds more.
He was so friendly, so nice person, and now we lost him.
Irlanda Jimenez is talking about merengue singer 69-year-old Ruby Perez, who was holding a packed concert at the time of the collapse early Tuesday morning. He, along with retired Mets and Yankees pitcher 51-year-old Octavio Dotel, were killed. Those locally mourning in Washington Heights, which has a large Dominican population.
Everybody's together on this. When things like this happen, everybody, there's a lot of gossiping and stuff, but most Dominicans have a good heart and they care for each other.
And Perez had also just held a concert here in Upper Manhattan last Friday. And Dominican officials are still searching for anybody who may have survived there in that pile of rubble. And the exact cause of that collapse is still being determined. Live in Washington Heights, Christy Kalishan, CBS News, New York.
Christy, thank you. 5:08 right now. 16 people are now charged in connection with more than 20 shootings throughout Harlem in 2024. According to the DA's office, they are all tied to violence between two rival gangs. The year-long investigation led to the discovery of 15 semi-automatic weapons used in the shootings, one of which was tied to the death of an 18-year-old woman and a 25-year-old man. According to DA Bragg, 13 out of the 16 suspects charged are under the age of 18.
Now to a CBS News New York exclusive. First Deputy Mayor Randy Mastro has issued an executive order to allow federal immigration agents to open an office on Rikers Island. He says the agents will coordinate investigations of international terrorist groups involved in serious crimes, The move reestablishes immigration agents at the jail after a 10-year hiatus. Mastro spoke exclusively with political reporter Marsha Kramer. He said he is issuing the order after doing his own investigation, meeting with people on Rikers.
What will this mean? Will it mean that they will be able to target people who are already in prison at Rikers Island?
To be crystal clear, this is about criminal investigations and law enforcement. This does not involve civil matters at all. And the executive order is carefully, narrowly tailored.
Master says that executive order is written to comply with sanctuary city laws, which allow the city to cooperate with criminal investigations into 170 crimes, including murder and rape. City officials are prevented from cooperating in deportations, which are considered civil matters.
5:10, and Mayor Adams says he is going to fight for every penny. His comments are in response to a letter from FEMA pulling more than $188 million in already allocated money to reimburse the city for migrant services. This follows the more than $80 million that the federal government pulled back in February. FEMA says the decision is because the funds provided, quote, support for illegal aliens and is not consistent with DHS's current priorities.
Time now to check back in with meteorologist Tony Sadiku in our virtual studio. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Chris, and it's kind of a brisk start to the day. I know the winds that you felt yesterday, no fun. Thankfully, not going to be quite as harsh with time this afternoon, but the numbers, they're still falling flat. I mean, for April, you got numbers struggling to hit the 50-degree mark. Will be about 10 below normal for this time of the year. So certainly the layers, grab the sunglasses too. It's a bright-looking day. Rain chances not doing today. However, the pattern changes tomorrow. We'll welcome extra clouds and a few showers in the mix by afternoon. A better rain chance coming up Friday night. Part of your weekend, too, could be wet. We'll detail the timing of all of this, how much rain we could be in for, and where we could see some snowflakes in the mix, too. All that's coming up. First, though, let's see what Guy Stanier's got in first alert traffic. Hey, Guy.
Good morning, Tony. I don't like the idea of snowflakes. We're going to start in New Jersey. Construction as the car lanes closed in both directions on the turnpike between exits 8 and 14. Traffic is using the truck lanes. Also, the earlier construction on the Verrazano Bridge has wrapped up. We have some subway issues in Manhattan. The 7 train running with delays in both directions due to a switch problem right near Grand Central 42nd Street. Alternate side parking is in effect today citywide. Chris and Mary, back to you.
Guy, thank you. 5:12 right now. Coming up, calling for justice. Family members distraught after Israeli officers shoot and kill a teen from New Jersey. Why they're disputing a new video of the incident.
More trouble in the skies. The passenger who caused one American Airlines flight to turn around mid-flight.